Hello, everyone, and welcome to FranTastic InSights. I love this time because what we get to do is share inside information with you from some of the most innovative entrepreneurs and brands like the one we have with us today. My name is Joan Winchester. I'm the Senior Vice President of Franchise Expansion for FranServe. FranServe is the world's largest franchise consulting organization, and our mission, quite simply, is to help change people's lives through franchise ownership. And we do that by working with a great group of franchisors, franchise consultants, and candidates to make that all happen. So today I'm super excited to have a brand with us, a hot emerging brand in the home services category, exclusively cabinets. And we are so fortunate because I have Tyler Strom with us today, and Tyler's actually the founder of Exclusively Cabinets. So, hey, Tyler, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Joan. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for being with us. So, I know you have a great story behind how you got started with the business. And I was just wondering if you could share with our audience a little bit about your background and how you got started.
Yeah, 10 years ago, we decided that we were actually a kitchen and bath distribution or design and distribution company, but we were exclusively online. And, in the meantime, we were kind of running a small operation out of a cubicle in a friend's office and, selling most of the product online. And what we found was that people struggled with not being able to touch it, feel it, before they made significant monetary decisions on their house or a remodel. So in 2016, we opened our first location in Novi, Michigan. Brick and mortar, just kind of a warehouse with a showroom in the front. And, we sold cabinets the old-fashioned way. And, every year we started to get the hang of it more and more until we got to the point where we just kind of dropped off the online side of things specifically. And, our job is to design, distribute, and then obviously warranty the cabinets, whether it be a kitchen, a bathroom, a basement, whatever, realistically, any room in your house. Um, but we started to grow. And in 21, we opened our second corporate store in like the Metro Ann Arbor area. And just earlier this year, we actually opened a third corporate showroom in Beverly Hills, Michigan, that seemingly will probably end up being our most successful one. But yeah, I mean, been in the kitchen and bath industry my entire life. My dad owned a kitchen and bath design company, except they handled everything from start to finish, whereas we just handled cabinetry.
Great story. Love how you have lineage, in the industry. That
There's a
certainly is
lot.
cool. So, tell our audience a little bit about the key differentiators with exclusively cabinets, if you would.
Yeah, in regards to like people in the cabinet industry or just home services in general.
Yeah, in the cabinet industry and home services as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest differentiator we have, and I got two things. One of them is we don't do installation. So a lot of the different cabinet companies that are out there, like they want you to invest a significant sum of money, and you have to build out an entire remodeling company. Realistically, our showrooms can be ran with one admin and one designer. And while they might not be able to have the add-on sales that installation can add up to, what we found is that our stores do a pretty significant amount with two people and sometimes three people. That's probably the biggest thing, and people say it as a negative, like, oh, there's got to be people that are dissuaded from you guys because of the fact that you don't do installation. Like, yeah, that's definitely true. Um, However, what we found is that when we have our people go out there and they open up a store, it's a really easy way to start building a base with contractors and remodelers, because you're not going after remodelers and selling them a product. You're actually going after remodelers and saying, hey, I have a kitchen and bath showroom that I just put up that does 150 jobs a year, but we don't have anybody to install them. Do you have any
Mm.
interest in installing them? And the vast, vast, vast majority of people are saying, well, yeah, of course, I'd love business. And in turn, what they find is that when they work with us, they understand the process that we have and how easy it is to work with us. A lot of times they'll end up sending their customers in as well. So you're trying to build these, symbiotic relationships between these builders and these remodelers. And what we found is that it works pretty well in terms of just a launch pad for a company just in the very beginning versus trying to do things the old-fashioned way, and whether it be spending a bunch of money on advertising or just waiting for the door to open. We found a way that we can reach out to 10, 12, 14 different remodelers and immediately start that relationship and start building. Excuse me. um Second thing is the technology that we have. We've developed a pricing software that we call the Expedia for cabinetry. But what it essentially allows you to do is take a design and price it across the 9 different cabinet lines that we offer. And realistically, I think we have like over 400 doors on there right now. So what the customer is able to do is actually see their design priced out in all these different price points. So, whether it be a white shaker everybody's kind of familiar with in terms of a cabinet, you can spend 50,000 on a white shaker, you can spend 15,000 on a white shaker, depending on who's the manufacturer of the brand. So what we have essentially allowed people to do is shop based on their budget, not necessarily based on the traditional method, which is, you go into a big box store, you go through the design. Once the design's done, then they pretty much ask you to pick out one or two different options, and you're going to pick out those one or two different options. They're going to price it for you. And if that price doesn't work for you, then realistically you have to start the process all over again. And for us, you don't. You design it, and once you're happy with the design, I mean, we're going to price your kitchen out 500 times at the click of a button, and now you're able at the convenience of your own in the convenience of your own home, that you and your husband or your wife can just sit there and scroll through on an iPad or a computer and say, okay, what do you think about this? What do you it allows you to be a little bit more private
Mhm.
in your conversations, but it also allows us to be a lot more transparent with the process, because people complain all the time about, this industry struggles with transparency and people ripping them off, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this allows you the ability to, I mean, we're completely 100% transparent. We don't care if you spend 5,000 or 50,000. We just want you to spend it with us.
Mhm. Great answer. Great answer. So, can you tell us a little bit about the qualities that you look for in a franchise owner?
Yeah. I think is from a quantifiable background, like we obviously want anybody who's been in construction because they understand the business, or anybody who has design experience, whether it be kitchens and baths, because realistically, if you do one of those two things, or even owned a business, whether it be a small business or a large business, if you've done any of those three things, you're able to take one of those jobs off of your plate, if you will. So, traditionally we have a designer and an admin, at least in every showroom. Well, I mean, if you have a background in kitchen design, then you don't need the designer. You can be the designer. If you have a background in admin or have ran a business before, then you can be part of that too. So realistically, you're just kind of taking the jobs off your plate if you want to be an owner operator. If you want to, if you want this as a passive income opportunity, or, you want to be a passive owner, then you're probably going to have to hire those two in general, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, we try and find as many as we've found that people with a design background, or people with a kitchen background, or a business background, um, seemingly do pretty well in this space. And then from a personality standpoint, it's two things for us. One of them is, you have to have an attention to detail, because you can do very well in this business, but you can also fail in this business quickly if you gloss over the details. And a lot of what we do is the ordering. And if you check the wrong box, you're now shipping a customer a kitchen that is the wrong color or the wrong door style, or, you're talking about a mistake that's not a little slap on the wrist, like a mistake for a small company that can realistically put them behind the eight ball relatively early. So we want people that have that attention to detail, because it's not difficult, but it is tedious work. And then the second thing is just it's customer service based. We're in a customer service based industry. Unfortunately, this is what we do. and people are going to either love you for a job you've done or hate you for a job that you've done. And there are going to be times, and I tell everybody this, like there are going to be times where you're going to have to eat crow because you screwed up. And how well you handle situations like that go a long way for not just potentially turning, bad reviews into good reviews, but turning bad reviews into, repeat clients or clients that are going to tell their friends and refer their friends to you because accountability is a major part of what we are and who we are. And likewise, the same thing. There are going to be times where you are 100% correct and the customer is absolutely wrong. And yet you're still going to have to eat crow because of the fact that you don't want to lose them as a customer, or you don't want to lose their business or referrals of theirs. And sometimes you just got to sit there with a smiling face, even though you are right and they are wrong, and you got to accept responsibility for maybe something that you shouldn't have to accept responsibility for. But in our business, reviews are everything and referrals are everything. And if you can build a referral base and a company that has solid reviews, they're gonna build a line to the door, and you'll never have to worry about marketing ever again. But early on, especially, like you have to make sure that everybody's happy. You have to make sure that your customers are over the moon with the job that you've done, because if they're not only are you going to hear about it then, but it could definitely affect your standing going forward in the remodeling industry.
Great point. Great point. So how about veterans? Do you have any special incentives that you offer veterans? I mean, they're one of our great passions, providing opportunities for veterans.
Yeah, and I mean I'm a big back the blue guy in terms of just the troops. It is definitely a support our troops type of company. So yeah, we give a 10% discount for veterans. We have actually a bunch of different literature that we have made up specifically for the veteran-owned companies as well. So, I mean, they're able to display that, and it's not just, a sign on the door, but it's actually like all of their literature is branded separately that has a lot of that, I guess we'll call it more patriotic feel, but also just the fact that, it definitely differentiates them as a franchise owner and a veteran.
So Tyler, tell me about the ideal markets and the areas that you're looking to expand.
So we are available in just about all 50 states. We haven't gotten to California yet. We haven't gotten to Maryland yet, are the two that we haven't hit. Um, in terms of hot markets, the nice part about this segment or this category is the fact that when the economy's up, people are moving and they're remodeling their houses. When the economy's down, people usually aren't moving as much, but if they're not moving, they're remodeling their houses. So I don't want to say it's recession proof, but it's very recession resistant in terms of the markets that we want to go into. Now, obviously, any market that has disposable income is going to be a significant benefit for the franchisee, whether it be, we've had a lot of success in Florida. We've just specifically like the Metro Tampa, St. Pete areas. Um, Nashville's been a big one for us. Even in Metro Detroit, we've had a ton of success, and just in completely different demographics and completely different areas, we've had that success. And I think that for us, it's just a matter of the real estate is super important for us. We obviously help. I mean, we help with your real estate because what we found is that when you have a ticket item that's as expensive as cabinetry can be, that the difference between 20 a square foot and 30 a square foot isn't really super important to us because of the fact that you sell such a high ticket item, and our showrooms are small. So we're not putting in 10, 12, 15,000 square feet. Like our showrooms are 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. So to get into a place where you have a ton of volume, a ton of traffic, a ton of foot traffic, like we find that actually makes you, I mean, you're able to make that back relatively quickly, just because over the course of a year, if you sell two more kitchens, you probably just made up that difference than maybe what like average real estate would be versus like really like high quality real estate that gets a ton of eyeballs and a ton of foot traffic.
Hmm. So, how about the training and the support? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So we have 48 hours of classroom learning that's done by our team, all virtual. You don't have to do anything, but they'll schedule time for you to go through everything, whether it be product knowledge or our systems or the brand expectations that we have for people. We go through all of that in grave detail. We tried to make it as exciting as possible, but at the end of the day, like it's just kind of stuff that you need to know. Um, and then they come to us for 3 days as well. And we do, technically it's 4 days, but three and a half, and we're doing the in-person teaching there. So you're going around, you're seeing our three corporate showrooms in Metro Detroit. You're seeing what they look like, how they operate. You're talking to the key people there, whether it be, our head of design, our store managers, or our Department of Builder Sales, which is a big part of us and what we do. You're getting all of that product knowledge. You're going through and seeing all the marketing literature. All of that is taken care of in-house. And we want to make sure that if you have those questions, like that you're able to come to us as the development team, as the owners and the founders, and that we're able to answer these questions, that we're not pushing you off to somebody else. Like it's kind of the benefit of us being an emerging brand is that you're going to get a lot more of that one-on-one or just that, we'll call it the precious, branding time that we have to be able to explain to you who we are and what we're about. And I think it's actually benefited the first couple pretty substantially, just because of the fact that nobody knows this customer, nobody knows this company better than I do. And the fact that they can sit down and ask me questions is like, well, you might not get the answer you like, but you're gonna get an honest and straightforward answer, and it's gonna be true.
Great. So how about the timeline to open? How long does it take?
So once you have signed your lease, 87 days is our average from the day you sign your lease through build out to opening. We suggest a lot of times that you open for, a month or so before you have like a true grand opening, just so you can, iron out a lot of the kinks and make sure, you kind of understand what you're getting into and what the necessary steps are to throw, I don't want to say a high quality, but a well-received grand opening. And that is, that's a big thing for us is we're quick to market in the sense of if you know what you're doing, whether it be you working up the plans, or I mean, sometimes we have people that are moving into like brand new strip malls. There's no build out there. So they don't really need to do anything other than maybe, building out a couple of desks. And then the showroom that we actually just opened in Beverly Hills, that was a full, like we ripped that thing almost down to the studs and built it completely different. So it can be shorter, and realistically, I mean, I'm sure it could be longer, but we found that the average so far has been 87 days, that from the day you sign your lease to the day that you open your doors.
Great. Great. Well, thanks for the valuable information. Love your passion, passion for what you do in the industry. And I mean, what could be more rewarding, right, than what we do, helping to change people's lives through franchise
Sure.
ownership? I mean, many people think about it, right? But franchising actually makes that a reality. So, can you tell our audience a little bit about the lifestyle of an exclusively cabinets franchisee?
Um, I mean, it can be as difficult or as easy as you make it. I mean, this is a business where it's not an easy way out kind of thing. Like if you want to be successful, you're going to have to work for it. But I think that, with us, we're 9 to 4, Monday through Friday. We welcome nights and weekends appointments, but if you never want to work a night, you never want to miss your kids', baseball game ever again, you don't have to miss it, because, we value family time in this company. And if you got to meet a customer on a Saturday because that's when they want to close, then you meet them on a Saturday because they're going to close. But for the most part, I mean, we're family first. When I started this company, I had a bunch of single moms that worked for me and still do. And they've all said the same thing. Like, I got to drop my kids off. I got to pick my kids up. And it's like, I understand that. Like there has to be a work-life balance with what we're doing because you'll burn yourself out way too quickly if you just spend, 90 hours in the office every week. But yeah, I mean, it is a very rewarding lifestyle because you're able to change people's lives, to be honest. I mean, the amount of people that I've had like in tears when we finished a remodel because they're, oh, I've lived in this house my entire life. I never knew it could look this good. Like that's a very unique
Mm.
and just a warming feeling that you have changing people's lives in that regard. Um, but at the same time, like, if you want to work super hard, like you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Like there's just we sell a product that everybody wants. And that is, that's why over the course of time, like this industry has never really taken a huge dip. Even in 2008, I would say would be the hardest, probably the most recent, hard times that we've gone through. And I mean, we weren't around, but my dad's company, stayed stagnant, never laid off a single person because even though people weren't spending money on new homes, they were remodeling their old ones because inevitably homes, accrue value and they'll continue to get more and more valuable as time goes on. So people want to dump money into their homes. They always have. They, at least for the foreseeable future, they always will. Um, and you're able to, to engulf yourself in that lifestyle. And I think that for us, you can have as much balance as you want, but I also wouldn't deter somebody from working 70 hours if they don't have a wife, they don't have kids, or they have the ability to do it and grind it out. Like you're going to be that much more successful, that much quicker because of the fact that if you're willing to put in the time, like this is, what we're offering is something that people will want, always have wanted, and will continue to want.
Hmm. Well, thanks for sharing your story and the inside information on exclusively cabinets with us today.
Yeah, happy. I appreciate you having me on, Joan, and I look forward to hearing from some of your people and being able to work through some of these things with them.
So, any last thoughts, Tyler, before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, like we're different because I mean, we're a low overhead, high margin, high ticket operation. I mean, you're gonna anywhere from, for an incredibly reasonable amount of money, and especially considering our competition in this space, that you're talking about a operation that realistically can be profitable in year one. And that's
Mhm.
without going crazy. I'm not telling you you have to work those 90 hours, but like if you have the connections or you go out and you make it a point to talk to people and get out in the community and do the things you need to do. This is a very, very lucrative business. And with the operation that we've set up, profitability can be quick if you know what you're doing.
Great. Always an important thing to consider when you're getting into business, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, thanks for being with us today, Tyler. We
Yeah, thank you so
appreciate it.
much. I appreciate it.